Everything around you is becoming hazy.
He's looking at me. He sees me.
3, Tiffany, you can feel the chair you're sitting in again. 2, everything around you fades to the blackness behind your eyes. 1, full control of your body.
But let's just get you back.
That's not it. They're just standing here, not moving. Like, at all. Like, not even their eyes. It's like... Oh my God. It's like they're fucking dead, but they're not.
What the fuck?
What?
Miss Melgren, you need to get out of there and return to your house immediately. I'm sending your information to the police right now.
In this video, I will continue trailing the most uncomfortable moments that make the Greylock videos popular. It was one of the moments we mentioned in part 1, so vile that I almost decided not to put it in the video due to its disgusting nature. Last video, we covered Tiffany was having a false pregnancy scare. Ending off from the last tape, we continue to tape 006, Sleeping Dogs. At the beginning of this footage, we are shown Dr. Bernard T. Hayes, who is speaking on psychology and the manifestation of consciousness in New York City, October 4th, 1981. Dr. Bernard teaches us that man has been searching for God since his creation. Many have died in this pursuit to see such an allowable and all-powerful creator, such as this.
Higher and higher they ascend, so that we will at last reach the one called God. And there, on his apex of infinite knowledge and power, we will approach and look him in the eye as an equal.
How's that for a disturbing moment? We start this tape right off with a spooky moment. Isn't that refreshing? After this scene, a series of loud static noises and something that kind of sounds like something wailing can be heard in the distance. The individual we're following now puts in his credentials, and then the virtual assistant gives you a couple of pieces of data on the screen, including the centre's name, the association, the project, the date of range for retrieval, from, to, and at the end, it tells you to press enter to play each of the messages. We can see a collection of messages from a man named Paul Morelli. Then the person on the computer plays the first message from him. Message 1 starts by greeting us and calling us Frank. Paul says that today there were issues at Greylock Mountain because there were people who had been at this mountain before his team arrived. He then goes on by telling Frank that he'll keep him in the loop if he sees anything else. In message 2, Paul tells us that this current day is going slow because the workers appear to be sick today. He then tells us that the area of the cave that's been cleared has lights set up within it, and asks around if Frank is the one who called a crew to set it up. But Paul doesn't think it's Frank who set this up, but he believes that the identified man they've caught on the cameras is the one behind this job. Message 3, Paul informs us that the guy that Frank has sent to take pictures of the cleared area of the cave has just left. He practically had to get carried back to his car due to how sick he got from being in the area, Paul tells us. After this, he then tells Frank that he's also gotten sick as well. Message 4 is where the energy of the tape slowly descends into unnerving. Paul starts by telling us something is off here. He tells us that the crew, the more they inspect through the cave, the sicker they get. He tells us that he's fine for now, but as soon Frank can get to it, please respond to his messages. In message 5, Paul explains how strange it is that food is perfectly stored and kept in clean condition, which would now be rotten and filled with maggots. He then asks Frank again to call him back when he can. The more you go through these voice messages, the more you can see Paul's face progress from jubilant to unrested and depressed. This is just a small detail I noticed. Paul begins by telling us that they saw the identified man again in message 6. Paul is slightly on edge. He tells us that the thing has been stalking them, but he's going to figure it out. Frank has to put up cameras so that they can see what's watching them. In message 7, you're shown footage of 2 different hunting cams. The hunting cam also say that there's motion detected. Paul calls belligerently, notifying Frank that a lot of the crew is sick, and some of them are now even unresponsive. He says that no one is answering their phones, but the only thing that picks up is Frank's answering machine. Paul then ends the message by telling us that as soon as he and his crew went down into that cave, they've been feeling sick, and that whatever got them sick is down there. The call ends. Message 9 is, well, I'll have you take a listen. We're now after this tape. Tape 007, Back to Normal, may be short but still manages to have a significant moment of discomfort within it, so we'll take a look. Don White, the news archer, starts us off by educating us on the recent crime wave that's begun to hit northern Berkshire County. We're told that these attacks have been perpetrated in an organised effort, but they have been stopped and the public is now safe once again. We're then told that the police have made necessary arrests to ensure that things will go right back to normal. Then, this happens.
Back to normal for residents of Berkshire County.
The tape ends there, right on that frightening event. In tape 008, Old Odd Ends, we continue from the news having technical difficulties. We are shown the GBS executor and the two producers of Don Right Tonight. The GBS executive, Alan, asks for Don and Samantha, says that the broadcast has been hijacked. Alan threatens Liam to go to his house and get him to the studio immediately. We then cut to Arnold River Files, where Arnold Rivers introduces himself to the audience. He tells us that he got invited by Paul due to his knowledge of anthropology and archaeology, and that he is wanted by the crew to inspect the depths of Mount Greylock. Harold then recollected that the things that they found within this mountain were irregular, and what was happening to the crew was abnormal. He tells us there are artifacts from 12 distinct cultures within this cave, and he sounds very excited. But this excitement soon turns to cowardice. How can such a place so important to so many cultures, for so long, be hidden there? Speculating these items were brought here specifically for offerings, we then cut to this.
Through our solar system collided directly with the Earth. The impact was so powerful and violent that the rogue planet was blown into countless pieces of debris. This debris collected to form our moon. Many of the pieces of the unknown planet remain inside the Earth to this day.
We then transition over to Adam's police department being called by the second producer, Liam. Liam tells the operator, Carrie, that he's called to report a break-in at his co-worker, Don Wright's house. Carrie then asks Liam if anyone has been hurt twice in a row, because the first time she asked Liam was so startled for the events, he could barely even speak without talking in nervousness. Then we cut right back to the Arnold River Files, that the altars found in the mountains, which have many human and animal sacrifices. Arnold tells us that whatever is down there has gotten him feeling sick to his stomach. He tells Mr. Porter that he's no longer going to return to the site. Mr. Porter then tries to manipulate Arnold into returning. He tells him that he's an important asset within this process, and then offers a substantial raise to return to the site. Arnold then declined the offer. Mr. Porter tries to manipulate Arnold again, and says that he will single-handedly discover the biggest historical finding of all time. Arnold declined his offer twice in a row, and the tape ended and moved on to this.
Lock event, group, C, survivor data. Profile for patient, B3590. Rockford, Thomas. Malformations. Notes. Communicative. Patient prone to spontaneous violent outbursts. Treatment of heavy sedation recommended. Only communicate while patient is restrained or via intercom. Now loading. Profile for patient. B9231. Washington, Samuel. Malformations. Notes. Communicative. Patient suffers from constant state of severe paranoia and delusions, resulting in unpredictable violent outbursts. Standard treatment ineffective. High-dose xylazine is recommended. Only communicate while patient is restrained or via intercom. Now loading. Profile for patient. B6670. Herrera, Ramon. Malformations. Notes. Uncommunicative. Patient appears to be in catatonic state. Warning, patient may sit up very suddenly, without provocation, to projectile vomit at any staff in area. Patient's vomit is extremely corrosive and emits nerve gas. All treatments ineffective. Studies must be conducted with full anti-corrosive gear and air purifying respirator equipped on all staff involved. Now loading. Profile for patient. B8816. Fleming, Charles. Malformations. Notes. Uncommunicative. Warning, patient will attack on sight. Do not interact. Immunity to pain. Patient exhibits cannibalistic tendencies. All treatments ineffective. Immediate euthanasia recommended. Now loading. Profile for patient. B4041. Oakhurst, Scott. Malformations. Notes. Communicative. Communicate with caution. Warning, patient actively pretends to be benevolent and friendly. Strong homicidal and cannibalistic tendencies. Killed and partially consumed 6 staff members on April 6, 87. Patient laughed hysterically during the attack. All treatments ineffective. Immediate euthanasia or permanent restraint for further study recommended. Now loading. Profile for patient. B7992. Kowalski, Edward. Malformations. Notes. Communicative. Hazardous. Warning, patient possesses inhuman power of suggestion and influence over others. Do not interact. All treatments ineffective. Immediate euthanasia recommended. Now loading. Profile for patient. B1584. Rafferty, John. Malformations. Notes. Uncommunicative. Hazardous. Patient appears to be deceased. No vital signs. Patient's body not decomposing. Warning, staff have become ill after even brief time spent in patient's room. Illness disregards protective suiting. Immediate quarantine required for all victims. Mortality rate post-exposure currently 92%. Survivors subject to rapid physical and mental malformations. All treatments ineffective. Immediate remote euthanasia recommended.
Once the first disturbing event of this tape is finished, we continue onward with the Arnold River files. Arnold explains that he thinks he made the right choice due to all the terrible events happening surrounding Mount Greylock emerging lately, referencing the home invasions, the dead bodies that fell from the sky, over chess, the pregnancy phenomenon, and many other unexplainable things. Arnold tells us that he's linked up with a local investigator because he's paranoid that the government is watching over him because of the information that he's gathered. Mr. River tells us something unnerving, that there's something in his basement and that he has to get a camera recorder to record it. We're on the camp footage now, and you can hear Arnold River speaking. He says that he's been hiding in his basement and that if anything were to happen to him, to give this recording over to investigator Jim Melgren. What comes up next is completely tragic.
Come on out, it's the police.
Tape 8 ends with the camera falling against the ground and the recording still playing as you can hear the static roar in the background. Tape 9, Trojan Technology, starts with a computer beginning the playback of the National Access Initiative. We're introduced to President Lyndon B. Johnson, who has announced the new upcoming program that revolutionises American households through technology. The National Access Initiative is said to provide electronics, such as cell phones, televisions, radios, smoke alarms, burglar alarms, and even flashlights to eligible homes. We're told that this will be able to work through the partnership with technology manufacturer Simeo Din. Percival C. Rothwell, who is the president of Simeo Din, says the reason for this act is to empower Americans to thrive in the electronic age. The tape then cuts to surveillance inside 2 different civilians' homes, indicating that Percival was lying about the electronics being for the strength of the American people. After this imagery, Percival says that he's going to let everyone in on Simeo Din motives and that they've been keeping secrets for a long time.
I'm here. Kennedy didn't go for it. But you assured me he was amenable. Or was that just more of your bullshit? No. He's gonna fucking expose our whole plan for the NII program. The meeting couldn't have gone worse. If that fucking Nick thinks he's gonna expose Simeon, he's got another thing coming. But we're not the only ones he's pissed off lately. After rejecting Operation Northwoods, and then that executive order involving the Federal Reserve, there are a lot of snakes in the grass. And it's about time that Kennedy got bit.
The clip then ends with Percival giving the audience a speech on the philosophy of being connected and how it is important to creating a stronger society. He gives an applaud, and then we see this. This whole project's goal was to get more surveillance on the American citizens, rather than power them with more technology. But why? Percival continues by saying the reason why Americans have stayed so great is due to security, connectivity, and accessibility. During the continuation of his speech, he is constantly interrupted by pictures of disturbing imagery, such as a person shadowing over a closet door for a few seconds, and a quick cut to a bunch of individuals with masks on. After this, we're then brought back to the original news programme for the beginning of this 101 WRAV. We are told that the benefits will be available to fire departments, schools, small businesses, and police departments. Also that the programme will be readily available to only a select few areas at first. If you already thought the tape was weird, this is when it officially takes a turn for the worse. And honestly, for this next part, I won't even give commentary, because it shouldn't be interrupted.
Hello? Hello? Is somebody there? Where are my glasses?
Katie.
Where are you?
I'm over here, Katie.
Oh, there you are. Who are you? my friend, but I didn't imagine him.
You must have, because here I am. You probably just don't remember.
Are you from your doctor's office place that I had to go to?
I think you might be right, Katie.
I can't find my glasses, so I can't really see you.
Oh, they're over here.
How'd you get there?
I noticed they were a little dirty, so I wanted to clean them for you.
Really?
Yes, they look all shiny and new now. Here, come get them. Then you'll be able to see me.
Wow. Thank you. Where are they? I still can't really see because my eyes are so bad.
You reach out and I'll put them into your hand. Okay?
Okay.
Closer. Just a little bit closer.
The 101 WRAV continues and says that current Pride projections for a national-wide release is set for sometime between mid-1966 and early 1967. Citizens will be mailed informational packets regarding the National Access Initiative, including information on how to apply as a programme becomes available in your local area. The final video being shown to us is a phone not being answered and an answering machine picking up. In tape 010, Message from Dead, we see our favourite character of the series, Mr. Camera. Maybe I should stop calling it this area on the woods. This is clearly Mount Greylock. But anyways, it ends off with a man with black gloves inspecting a tree, and he comes up upon a dead mouse, picks it up and holds it against the camera. We then flash over to the answering machine, the same one we were introduced to in tape 9. The husband calls the house phone, a few moments pass, and the rings go straight to the answering machine. He told his wife that she shouldn't go out to work today because it is dangerous, and as soon as she can, she has to call him back. After that, we quickly cut to an interrogation room occupied with Tiffany's husband. He gives the interrogator information on the pregnancy scare, and then tells the officer that he frequently makes calls to his wife, but this is the last time she answered. We go back to spectating the answering machine again, and the husband's calls sound even more concerned this time. Swiftly, we're shown a video of a sacrifice circle. Tiffany's husband calls the answering machine for the third time, saying that he's very stressed that Tiffany isn't answering her phone, and that he's coming home immediately. We're then introduced to Dr. Heinrich Albrecht, the one who's the pathologist for Tiffany's passing.
Dr. Heinrich Albrecht, Medical Examiner, Westfield. May 19th, 1987, 3:23 p.m. Intake report for Tiffany Elaine Marie Crisaldi. Caucasian female, age 28, 39, 26, 30, 27, 25. Case number 87-09-1-HA. This autopsy will be conducted at the request of the Adams Police Department. Initial external evaluation reveals a resinous black substance adhered to the face, neck, and upper thoracic region. Samples have been obtained. Additionally, the eyes are fully retracted. These observations are aside from any
The doctor gives us 3 pieces of noteworthy information in the segment. 1, that a black substance revealed itself on Tiffany's face, neck, and upper thoracic region. 2, there was an unusual sign on the abdomen below Tiffany's sternum that was carved into her flesh. 3, the carvings marked on her body occurred several hours after her death. Next, we're on to Dr. Blank talking to Tiffany Crisaldi. The doctor first starts off with a couple small questions. Then, he asked a more unexpected question. He asked Tiffany if she's seeing them still. Tiffany explains to the doctor that she sees them right now, everywhere. We cut back again to Dr. Heinrich, telling us that he's begun the external examination of Tiffany's corpse, but he says that something strange has happened today. The doctor and his assistant both heard crying from within Tiffany's cooler. We then go back to the doctor psychoanalyzing Tiffany again. He goes through an entire mental exercise exploring her mind. Follow along with me for a second, because this gets trippy. He starts off by telling her to first close her eyes. He tells her to imagine her surroundings by looking at the trees, looking at the yard, and feeling the wind blow. The sun is shining against your house. With each new integration, he tells her to take one more step towards her house. Eventually, she reached the door. He says the door opened, and you could see that your room looks like it did the last time she saw it. I'm in the room, and she sees the door, and this next moment is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Black. It has weird marks on it. The wood looks weird.
Walk to the door and open it.
I'm scared.
It doesn't matter if you're scared. You must open the door. Good job, Tiffany. Now tell me what's on the other side of the door.
It's a small room. Somebody's in there.
No, Tiffany, you're alone.
No. There's someone here. He's facing away from me. He's standing and tall. He's very tall.
Tiffany, you are alone. Nobody else is there. Now tell me what else is in the room.
There's a TV. The screen is all fuzzy, and the tall man is watching it.
Tiffany, I want you to focus on removing the man from your mind. When I snap my fingers, he will be gone. You will be alone.
The man's shaking. His body is cracking.
Okay, Tiffany, I'm going to count down from 5. When I snap my fingers, you will return to the real world. 5. You're feeling more awake
He's
now.
turning around.
4. Everything around you is becoming hazy.
He's looking at me. He sees me.
3, Tiffany, you can feel the chair you're sitting in again. 2, everything around you fades to the blackness behind your eyes. 1, full control of your body. 0, you're awake, Tiffany. You'll return to reality now.
This part is abruptly stopped by the footage of Jim Melgren fondling the dead rat. After this, it cuts to the ending of this tape. Officially ending off this tape. Tape 11, Preparation Through a Guest, didn't have any specific moments that I'd personally like to highlight, so I'd rather move on straight to tape 12. You're now welcomed to Waking Your Subconscious. This tape is meant to be a psychological exercise plus modern technology to allow you to pierce into and tap into the energy of your subconscious. You're giving a checklist of 3 things. First, it tells you to make sure that you're alone and you're not going to be disturbed while taking this test. The second thing it tells you is to turn off all your light sources besides the monitor you were using for this program. Lastly, it tells you to take out a notebook or take out a workbook before you begin the section. In section 1, the introduction section, you're told that you're going to unlock the gateway to deeper corridors in your psyche. You are advised to stare at your screen for 30 seconds while the test is conducted. While this 30-second plays, you're shown a flashing red light for 30 seconds straight. Section 2 is preparing your mind for advanced neuroplastic reenactment. This is the section where things start to get slightly unnerving. You were told that in this exercise, you will be shown 5 sets of words. Each side is made up of 6 words. For each side, you will have 10 seconds to choose and write down one out of the 6 words that doesn't fit in with the others. Matter of fact, you should get a pencil and pen out and do this with me. Ready? Let's go. Set 1, you're given 6 words: chair, table, couch, rope, bed, and mirror. On my paper, I wrote rope because rope is not something you see within a typical household. On the second set, you're given brain, heart, blood, lung, liver, kidney. This time I wrote blood because it's the only one here that's not an organ. So we're just interrupted by whatever that was. The words for the third set are terrified, screaming, running, followed, hiding, visible. I put visible, but I can't explain why exactly that one stood out for me. For the fourth set, we get mutilated, disfigured, mangled, butchered, dismembered, improved. I picked improved here because it's the only word that means something positive. The rest of them are just words describing taking pieces of a whole or removing them. Set 5 is morph, transform, mutate, turn, change, you. I think you was the obvious odd one here. Alrighty, let's move right along into the evil vigil arc of this story, shall we? In this part of the story, we are given an exchange between a call dispatcher at Evergreen who's checking the camera security systems and Malgrin Charlotte. Due to the unusual situations on the camera, the employee tells Charlotte that he must send the police dispatcher to her location. Charlotte then begs and pleads for the operator to just let her go check and see the disturbance outside herself, due to the fact that she has really important things to do in the morning, and she's gotten a bunch of false alarms on her system before. The dispatcher is hesitant at first, but after a few more back and forths, eventually folds in compromises by saying that he needs to confirm what's on the playback camera first. At first, this dispatcher has trouble looking at the footage, but then once he figures the system out, we see this.
Okay, on the cordless. Got my flashlight. Still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, heading outside now and then going right across to the kennels, so just hang on another sec.
Okay.
The dispatcher then reveals that there's something wrong with the cameras of the home, and he warns Charlotte. Dispatcher then says that none of these past calls were false alarms, so he's confused on what the other dispatchers were saying. Charlotte then tells the audience that she's going to comfort her dogs and says that there's something wrong with them, that they're just standing there, not moving.
Or something. But let's just get you back.
That's not it. They're just standing here, not moving. Like, at all. Like, not even their eyes. It's like... Oh my god, it's like they're fucking dead, but they're not.
What the fuck?
What?
Miss Melgren, you need to get out of there and return to your house immediately. I'm sending your information to the police right now.
What's going on?
Get the hell out of the kennel!
Okay.
Now!
Fuck, I'm leaving!
What was that? Are you okay? Charlotte! Charlotte, are you okay?
It ripped my flashlight.
Charlotte?
It ripped my flashlight. It's gone. It's gone. Something ripped it out of my hand. I can't see anything. Please fucking help me. Please, something's in here. Wait.
Okay, Charlotte, I've sent your information to the North Adams PD, okay? They responded that an officer will be there in 3 minutes. Do you think you can find your way out? Charlotte, listen, you need to...
You can hear a scream as Charlotte runs, and as you're listening to the scrampers of Charlotte, you can watch the dispatcher contact the police simultaneously. As you see on the screen, the officers will arrive in 3 whole minutes. Charlotte is instructed to feel on the wall until she can feel the door or the window as a dispatcher runs through the video footage. You can hear the running and the gargles of the monster in the background, which has ended by a loud thud. Charlotte then let us know that she's entered down into the basement and that she's locked the door behind us. Dispatcher then tells Charlotte to remain silent until the officers arrive. Charlotte then breaks the silence to say that her skin is moving and then is attacked by whatever was chasing her from before. The next time we continue back with this storyline, we're following the cop's perspective. He reports that he's in the basement of the property. You hear an unknown noise that startles our new character. This segment ends with the police officer stumbling upon Charlotte in a more abnormal state than usual. The tapes fully conclude here. This concludes the most disturbing moments within the Greylock analog horror series. If you like this series and would like all the disturbing moments of another series, let me know in the comments. But if not, then I'll see you next time on Jason Disturbo. Goodbye, guys.